This special edition of our podcast, Disruption Now, with Big Tech Energy, with my man, Jared. Jared, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, man. I appreciate you for having us this conference. It's super, super exciting.
Yeah, man, it is exciting. It's exciting to have a friend of mine and also an innovator in his own right, leading Children's Hospital innovation here at in Cincinnati. And I want to tell people, because a lot of our listeners may not know, that Children's Hospital right here in Cincinnati is actually the number one children's hospital in the entire country and likely the world, one of the leaders. So a lot of people don't know that, and he's leading the whole innovation behind it. So we're talking about what that looks like, because there's often a tension between innovating, especially when you're at a large established institution. So love to just hear more from you on that. And then of course he's about to go live on stage right after this, so we can't keep him that long. So Nick, thank you for coming on.
No, absolutely. It's a pleasure to be here and just share a little bit about my journey, what I'm passionate about, and the work I lead at Cincinnati Children's Hospital.
Yeah, so I'll kick it off now. Now I'll go to Jared. I guess my first question is, what brought you to this role? What was your path here? Like, you've been on many roles, but how did you get here? What was your path to be leading innovation at Children's Hospital?
Yeah, I've got a very non-linear career track. Most of my early career was in finance and strategy. Did a lot of operations, and did that for 20 years in big health systems, kind of more traditional corporate career. About 8 years ago, I pivoted and got the opportunity to lead, major innovation kind of projects and infrastructure for the organization I was working for, Advent Health. And I've always been a builder. I've always kind of been in growth-focused roles. And it was an opportunity to build a business inside of a business, which is a lot less risky than building a business on the outside. But it was a great kind of training opportunity, learning opportunity. From there, kind of moved in and was leading ventures within that organization, and had the opportunity to go out to Silicon Valley, spend a couple of years working for one of the fastest growing healthcare startups in the world, Hippocratic AI, which was really an amazing experience. Out there in Silicon Valley, blue chip investors, fast scaling product, kind of obviously the beginnings of generative AI, and did that for a few years before I came here. So I've kind of seen both sides of the business, the service side, obviously tech, being an operator, and kind of bringing that full circle, leveraging an institution that has a really, really rich history of research and reputation, but now looking to see how we evolve that platform, not just around tech, but life sciences and other areas as well.
Yep. Jared?
Yeah, so when it comes to healthcare and like some of the trends and the things that you think people should be thinking about top of mind, like what are some of the exciting trends or opportunities in healthcare that you think people should know about?
Yeah, well, for sure, AI is top of mind. Every company, digital company, is now an AI company.
Yep.
And there's a lot of opportunity to improve workflows, because there is a lot of waste in healthcare and friction kind of in the patient or consumer experience. So tons of opportunity there. There's a lot of solutions that our physicians and researchers have developed in that space that we are looking to commercialize and partner in the market. But also, first and foremost, Cincinnati Children's has been a research institution, going back to the creation of the polio vaccine. There's a lot of great research that's come out of the institution, and so we continue to be at the forefront of developing things like regenerative tissue, regenerative medicine, like the promise of what that can be. Things like cell and gene therapy to cure diseases like sickle cell. Really, really interesting kind of basic science foundational research that happens, and so my team does a large amount of kind of shepherding and supporting that intellectual property that we develop to get it out into the marketplace.
For folks that are kind of just at the either beginning or the middle of their careers, that might be looking to you for inspiration, curious as to what you think is the most important thing to focus on in order for you to get to where you want to go, right? What do you think, if you had to give advice for folks that are in business, technology, because things are changing, they're always changing fast, but I feel like they're changing faster than I've ever seen. And what advice with this just shifting dynamics so much in terms of what type of jobs are being created, how to position yourself, what would you advise someone, seeking to be successful in business, a leader, or whatever that is?
Yeah, I'd say for me, don't shy away from technical fields. Like a lot of people will be like, oh, well, you majored in finance, so you must love math. No, I knew that was a pathway to build upon to be successful. So don't shy away from technical fields like engineering, STEM fields. Like it gives you a foundation and a leg up on others that quite frankly have generalist degrees. Nothing against them, but it does make a difference.
It does.
And when you look at, what's happening in the economy now, types of jobs that will be available, having that technical kind of understanding is super important.
Yep.
The other thing I would say is just ask for more. I think today, I don't know, I'm in my early 40s.
Okay.
So I would say. Right. I think there is this sense now of like, and it's important to have your space and set boundaries.
Yeah.
The way I got ahead was I always asked for more. What's the next project I can work on?
Yep.
What is the next thing I can do? Because success, I find, comes from compounding knowledge.
Absolutely.
That is one of my honestly greatest insights from being in Silicon Valley. Like people get a lot of at-bats really fast because they're seeing so much change so quickly. And so if you're able to do that and compound your learning over time, you put yourself in a place to be very marketable and contribute in a different way. And so learn as much as you can as early as you can.
I tell young people all the time, people coming up in their career, early in your career, actually, you need to value learning and relationships over money because you're going to get more money if you learn more, you build relationships. And, I get the balance a little bit, but not really. But I think there does need to be balance, but there's been so much focus on balance that it's taken us out of balance. Look, in order for you to succeed at a large level, there is no way to do it that's completely like on balance. You have to sometimes go in and have seasons where things just, you don't have time to do much else other than that.
There's a measure of sacrifice, prioritization.
Period.
It's required.
Yeah, and no amount of AI, no amount of instant knowledge is going to take away compound learning and sacrifice. Nothing. Like, I say that to young people all the time because it feels like people are having this instant success. But like, we're in our 40s. Like, this isn't, I'm still like, I feel good where I'm at, but this has taken a long time. Like, it's been a lot of journeys and a lot of knowledge. And so I think people have to get comfortable that things aren't instant.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you dropped a good gem about like ask for more. I look at that as like a mindset thing. And the big thing with big tech energy, it's not just like tech resources or tech application, but it's the mindset that got people to become 6, 7, 8-figure entrepreneurs or individual contributors. What is the mindset that has really driven your career to where it is? Because you've had a bunch of different stops, but there has to be some sort of mindset, I guess, thing that has been consistent throughout.
Yeah. So I think doing, I would say, like projects that have an innovation bent, particularly I'll just say in a big company, like maybe where I spent most of my career, I think the branding can be like you want to do innovation, right? I'm interested in improving like outcomes. How do we perform better, right? And there is incremental innovation or steps you can take. I think there's like more stepwise innovation. So like for me, what motivates me is like, can we be better? Can we do things better? Can we improve the experience like significantly and measurably? I guess I'm just not satisfied with like, we're going to do a little bit at a time, slowly. I'm just not wired that way. And so being in an environment where there is rapid change, like I'm someone who's okay with change. So I don't mind being in an environment where it looks different today and it looks different 3 weeks from now. Like I'm just not stressed out by that. But also being able to be a leader that has that mindset and doesn't fray out your team.
Yeah, that was my question.
People along. So it's
what does that look like? Because if I can, I'm a disruptor too, and I've also found that it's also it's easy to lose people and freak them out too, because some people are resistant to things that aren't certain. So how do you lead in the future when you're in the present, I guess is the question.
I think it's clear vision and then consistent communication. So I think if people know where we're going and you reinforce that message consistently, then you're just talking about what do we got to do today? What do we got to do tomorrow? So the work is chunked out and people see what's happening, but the vision is very clear. And then they'll be able to relate and see where they need to be in the story. Okay, I'm doing this right now, but I know this is where we're going. And so I think vision and clarity are just super important when you're managing and building a team.
Absolutely. I have a one quick question, and you go. We can do some rapid fire. How do you gain, and how do you know that you are speaking and giving a clear vision? Because everybody says that advice, but I found most people think they're giving a clear vision, and their vision isn't clear. I've seen this happen with leaders a lot. How do you make sure that your vision is clear, and how do you know that it is clear? Because we all want to believe it's clear, but how do you know? What signals do you get from others in your organization to let you know that that your vision is really being receptive to those that you're leading?
So twofold. You got to seek feedback because you can't be on an island. It's one thing to have a vision, and it's your own. So feedback bidirectionally, above and below. That's super important. The other is just measurement.
Yeah.
Right. Like if you have a vision, there should be measurable ways that you know that you are progressing, and so you can also communicate success. And so it's having a vision, then being able to communicate. Here's what we've done. Here's what we said we would do.
Yep.
Here's what we've done. And that's how you start to build consensus. And then there's a belief that comes in. We've been able to do this. We've done it consistently. We're showing results. Kind of to continue to build from there.
Yeah, so my question is, from the time you spent in Silicon Valley, what advice do you have for entrepreneurs that are trying to figure out the best approach to succeed in Silicon Valley?
I mean, I can share my experience. So I went out there in 2023. A lot of people had left during that time.
Facts.
I was one of one walking around Palo Alto because that's where I was living, downtown Palo Alto. It was very different. That came through relationships. So Rob mentioned relationships before. The reason, why I was in that role at that company at that time was because a boss that I had previously was now working at a VC firm.
Yeah.
And I called him, and he was like, "Hey, why don't you talk to this person?" And the CEO had raised the seed round 2 days before.
Yeah.
So, I mean, do I know people in the space? I know people in tech, but it was just relationships that made it happen. And I would say, if you were you've got to network and be in the places and spaces. It's helpful to be top of mind. I think a lot of people also, they may make a phone call one time or follow up one time. Like, you need to be relevant in someone's mind at the time they're making a decision or they make a recommendation. So, like, I had a relationship. I made a phone call. We had a conversation. 2 days later, that happened. But it's only kind of through that consistent, I think, communication and follow-up that you get some of those opportunities. So it's
no question.
Right place, right time, right relationship. And then that's where magic happens.
And persistence to make it happen.
Before you jump in, I think this is a good plug for Midwest Con because you got to be in the spaces to get the relationships. You know what I'm saying? And so if you're not in the right rooms where people are, where you can build those relationships, like Tiffany introduced us yesterday, right? So if it wasn't for that relationship I had with Tiffany, then we wouldn't have this warm connection and vice versa. So like, it is really about relationships. So 100%, especially in this AI dominated space, human connection is so important. So definitely,
and even keep it there, because I think I told you guys, I met Tiffany 20 years ago at a Coca-Cola HBCU internship program.
Yep.
And we're still connected or stay connected. Yep. Now we met here, made these connections. So it's amazing how relationships help you over your lifetime.
Yeah, they compound like everything else you said. Like people treat it, if you treat it like a transaction, it'll be a one-off. Mm-hmm. If you treat a relationship like it should be, compounding, doesn't mean you get a direct one-to-one out of all of it. If that's how you seek it, you'll limit yourself, right? Absolutely. But if you see opportunity to provide value, value will come, right? And I think if I can tell that to people, that's what they should definitely lean into. And it comes to also meet it in person sometime too, right? Everyone wants to default online, and I think we should do that, but we can't replace it completely. What I've found is that I definitely do online. Like, I have a lot of online relationships, but when I met them in person, it amplified. Right? Yeah. So like, you have to do both. And it's not like, so artificial intelligence, all these things are enhancements. They're still not replacements for human connection. That's why you still got to go to events. Yes. I mean, that's why you still got to, you be intentional about it. You don't have to go to all these huge events. Like a lot of the events I go to don't have like 10,000 people at them. Right. I find those to be, if you want to go out and party, they're fun events. If you want to go out and you can network at those events too, but but you have to have a very tight plan. Sometimes people go at places that you don't expect, and you got to look and do some research and see where opportunities are. A couple of rapid fire questions. I know you got to go to the stage, so you can answer these quickly. What's some advice that you would give your younger self, knowing what you know now, and what advice would you ignore?
Oh, that's a good one.
My younger self. I think it's easy to have imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that I ever felt that I was ready maybe for the next job that I was going to be in.
Yeah.
I think you just have to trust your experience. And to be honest, I would say just have confidence in your ability. There's a lot of people out here faking it.
Yeah, it is. And they're fine. They go with some large amount of
I've been in a lot of rooms and seen a lot of people, right? And I've worked with a lot of extremely bright people.
Yeah.
I would say just walk with confidence into every role. Like, just trust your preparation.
Yeah.
For sure. As you're growing, it doesn't mean to be overconfident.
Yeah.
But again, trust the skills that you have. You're in rooms, and you get put in a room because you have a voice and contribution. So just don't be afraid to kind of contribute to spaces you're in. That's the reason why you've been put there. And then the other one was,
What advice would you ignore?
ignore. I think I got a lot of advice around the career track I should take. I think I've fairly well ignored it. I would tell myself, can you do that? Because, again, I've had a diversity of experience that has been amazing. The people I have met because I've been willing to take chances.
Yep.
I think it's just changed the arc and just the breadth of experience that I have as compared to some of my peers who, maybe they just stayed in finance and they've done that. And that's cool. Different tracks for everyone. But for me, it's really enriched my career experience significantly.
All right, quickly. If you had a movie, TV show that described who you are, what would your character be and why?
Movie or TV show? Man, you throwing these difficult ones in here.
These are not rapid fire. These are very perspective questions.
You got something.
Movie or TV show? Okay, I'm just gonna say like TV show. I'm gonna say first. I'm gonna say First Take.
Okay.
Right, because listen, strong opinions loosely held. I stole that from a boss. Like, I'm going to have an opinion on something.
Yeah.
Convince me otherwise. Like, I love discussion, debate, even with my team.
Yep.
I want to be challenged, but I'm going to come with an opinion. There should be some kind of fact behind it, but, I want discussion and debate. I want a vibrant team.
Okay. Final one. You got the future. I'll say this. What AI is definitely going to change is, and what AI will never change is. How would you complete those sentences?
AI will definitely change. There's this abundance that AI will bring in terms of our ability to interact with systems and tools and data and information. It's only increasing the amount of information that's coming at us. What it's not going to change, at least particularly I can speak from the healthcare context, is the human touch. Healthcare, very much in the space that I work in, is delivered by humans to humans. Yep. And the compassion and empathy and things that are involved in providing patient care when you think about birth, life, and death, that ain't changing anytime soon. And so you need both.
You do. And
the balance between those two, that's what we have to struggle with as an industry and as builders.
I agree. Nick, pleasure to have you on.
I have one last question. Yeah, because you got to go on stage. When I'm a guest on a podcast, I always have this one thing that I want to share, and I'm like, dang, I really hope they ask this question so I can share it. So what question have we not asked that you're like, man, I wish people would know this information? So what was the question, and then what would your answer be?
Oh, I think I would say generally thinking about innovation in tech spaces. I think people run to big tech and what do they what's Meta and Amazon and Microsoft doing, when in reality, every business is using technology.
Yep.
I was talking to a friend a couple of days ago just about, I've done a ton of work in the AI space. She works in the AI space, but every small, medium-sized business, they're going to have these needs. Mm-hmm. And so I think people should be thinking about you can find yourself in the stack in a lot of places. Absolutely. It does not have to be with there's a lot of opportunity to make change kind of broadly from the smallest business to the largest business
Absolutely.
and leveraging this technology and how it can make an impact and figure out where you can do that, maybe where you are.
Yep.
You can make a significant difference.
Agreed. Well, thank you. Appreciate it. I know you got to hit the stage.
No problem.
Good to see you,
Thank
man.
Thank